G'day, and yet another episode of Sammy and Dad. I should rename this Fix the EF Falcon XR8. But anyway, yes, we've got problems with the daughter's car again. Notice, it's got a green P on it now. Had a licence for at least 6 months. Now she can carry passengers. Well, she could, and then she couldn't. And now she can again. Damn law. Anyway, so we have a bit of a problem. It was running fine. We've had 3 weeks of trouble-free motoring, and I happened to say, hey, we've had 3 weeks of trouble-free motoring, and it must have heard me, because it wouldn't start on Sunday night at 10 o'clock. Dad, it won't start. What's the problem? Well, immediately I thought, it can't be anything else, apart from a possible ECU problem. Thank God it's not that. So I got in it, turned the key, could not hear the fuel pump priming. It's normally a little whir that you hear coming from the back of the car on the left-hand side. Normally the fuel pump priming just as you go to on. Couldn't hear it priming. Immediately I went, right, fuel pumps had it. Either the fuel pump or the relay, or it could be another issue with the computer, but most likely the fuel pump. We did have some problems starting it a couple of weeks ago where it just cranked and then turned the key off, started again, and away she went. So that had been sitting for about a week. I'd say it's sort of probably rolled back through, the fuel's rolled back through the return line, and it wasn't holding it in there. That was the most likely. So I got another fuel pump, and we've got it fixed now, but I'll just show you what we had to do. A couple of things. While I'm at it, we've got the DFLTD back home, and we've got a new addition to the family. Yes, we have a boat. It is a 1968 Pride pacemaker that was owned by my granddad. He bought it in 1968, had it until he died in 1972, been a family boat, and recently been in the custody of my uncle, and he's now passed it on to me. Thank you very much, Uncle. Had to do a few repairs on the motor. It's a Evinrude 70 horsepower. Have fond memories of this boat. It's in pretty good condition for its age. Its name's Too Late. I think Grandad apparently bought it too late in life. She's a goer, hopefully. So there are a couple of things to check before you go ahead and change the fuel pump. One of the areas is the relay. On a regular XR8, there is a relay that is underneath the water bottle. Fantastic place for the relay to be. As you can see, the one that says OEX here, normally that one is a green relay. There's also another relay there which is brown, which you can probably just see next to it. Okay, the brown relay is for ignition, the green relay is for the fuel pump. This car has had gas on it previously, so that's probably why that relay has changed. That is a new relay that I put on last night because the other one didn't look too flash. And as you can see, the coolant bottle there has had a bit of a leak. I've had to do a quick fix on that by wiping some silicone in there. And I'd say possibly that it has leaked some coolant into the relay, maybe had a bit of white staining on it, so it's possible that that's been the case. So I've got a different relay that I can attach, screw it in there so it wasn't loose like the previous one. Anyway, so that's just to keep it nice and tidy. Great spot for it forward, thanks very much for that, underneath the water bottle, which is hot and really inaccessible. Well done to that. Anyway, I love my Fords, I won't buy anything else, but I tell you what, this car has been a little bit trying on me. Anyway, we shall move to the back and find out where the fuel pump is. Okay, so I've exposed the carpet here in the back of the car, and underneath on the left-hand side, there is a plate and some wires. We'll ignore that blue wire, that's from an old subwoofer. But with a plate with some wires going into it, and that is where our fuel pump is. So we've got the power screwdriver, and good old Milwaukee. So we'll take those screws out, we won't be long. Okay, so we've got the last screw taken out, and then we take that plate off. Okay, now there's a little bit of fluid that is, a little bit of petrol that is in that little indent there. We'll soak that up with a bit of rag. Now there's two wires here, 2 sets of wires. With the first set, that is the gauge wire, and that is the fuel pump wire. We have the pressure line, and we have the return line. This plastic down the side here, you can twist that around like the top of a water bottle, and that will undo the fuel pump. Now, I have got another video which does explain that this wire here is the primer wire. It's not, it's actually the gauge wire. This is the wire that has the power in it. As you can see, there is a black and yellow wire there. That black and yellow wire corresponds to the power wire at the relay. So I was a little bit inaccurate with that previously on the other video, but you'll see that other video now which explains what the pump looks like. It's making sure that's right, and then coming around to the boot. Now I've pulled the pump out already, so the pump is under the floor underneath the protection plate, and there we have the fuel tank, a couple of wires that go into it, and these small ones here, this one here is the primer. When you turn the key on, you should get 12 volts of power in that one. So of course we've got a full fuel tank here at the moment, which is fan-fucking-tastic. We wouldn't have half a tank, would we? No, it has to have a full tank. Anyway, so we've pulled the fuel pump out, and here she is. Fuel pump, filter, and also the float as well. So we're going to pull that apart, and we've got an OEM one to replace it. 110 or 130, 140 bucks or something from Napa or something similar to that. And we'll see how that goes. All right, so we have our fuel pump disassembled. Here's the old one. There's this rubber sheath around the top of it. We have 2 plugs on the top. We have the pipe. And on the bottom, we have a fitting for the filter, okay, which fits through. There's also this rubber fitting on the bottom here, which I'm going to take out and put on the bottom of this one. So it's pretty simple. We've got 2 Utilux clips here. Undo that, slide it out. 2 plugs there. The sheath, you've got another Utilux around it, holding it to the frame. And then we have the bottom part there with the filter. So as long as everything's tight, there is some residue on this. I'm not going to clean it up because let's just not damage it. You've got to be careful that you don't damage your sender unit there on that side. And we've got a seal that's around it that appears to be intact. So no idea how old this one was. The fact that it's got a metal fitting to hold the filter on might seem that it might be an original or close to, because all they give you in the kit is some good old zip ties. There's 2 types of filter that they've included. One's got a dog leg on it, one doesn't. I'm going to use one that doesn't. Alright, see how we go, cross fingers. Okay. So I'm just letting you know that it has been installed. So just a quick one, a review of what we did. So we have the plate. This is the seal plate. Okay, so there's 6 screws that come out of here. Undo the plate, pull the wiring up. You have the 2 wires. This is the wire. This is the wire for connection to the fuel pump. This one here is the wire for the float level. This one has 2 connectors. This one's got an original connector here, and this one's potentially, well, probably an aftermarket. So this is your pressure, this is your to the engine, and this is your return. So this plastic looks like a big drum. This turns anti-clockwise. It's got a thread on it. You turn it around, pull it up after you've taken your hose fittings off, and then the pump pretty much comes out with a bit of an angle tip coming out, being mindful to be careful of your float. Now, I actually had to buy some of these. So this is a Toledo brand fuel line disconnector, quick fuel line. There's two different sizes there. Essentially, you have your fuel line there, you open it up, you put it across your fuel line there, and then you push it into that plastic fitting, and it deactivates the locking clips that are inside here. It was a challenge because there's a collar here. So if you have a look, you see there's a bit of a collar, okay, and they kind of hit that. So a bit of perseverance, push it back, push the plastic in actually does help because it deactivates the clips as well. And then eventually moving it back and then pushing it a bit further. Then I got a pair of pliers on this metal piece here and just slowly worked it out. It's quite long, so it actually goes to about here. Okay, probably about there actually. And this one's quite long as well, goes to about there as well. All right, so yeah, so these cost $28 from Repco. They're a Toledo brand. The Repco ones are a little bit thinner, bit more flexible. These are a bit stronger, so I paid a little bit more for those. So yeah, so undo it, and then you get your parts of your pump. So this is the old pump. Okay, so whatever's wrong with it, I have no idea. This fuel tank was actually quite clean. There was not much crap in the filter. They do recommend that you change your filter and obviously change your tank. Now, obviously, having a full tank of fuel is not desirable. So, because when I pulled it out, I ended up getting a lot of fuel in this area here. You can still see there's a little bit of remnants of fuel there because it's hard to get to once pipes are there. So I got a syringe and I sucked up all the fuel. It was probably about half a litre of fuel. Anyway, that's what happened. It didn't leak out too much, so it's a bit of smell here, but that'll dissipate. Anyway, well, look, I didn't quite explain it as good as I probably could have, but at the end of the day, the fuel pump needed to be replaced. I needed to do it quickly. But just to give you an idea, it's actually not that hard to do it. One of the hardest things is actually probably trying to put seal the cap back on. And, hello Alf, how you going, mate? Probably trying to put the cap back on, that is probably one of the hardest things to actually do so you don't get any fuel leakage. Got a little bit of leakage, but at the moment we've got a really full fuel tank. So if you can do a fuel pump, it's always when it breaks. You can do it when the fuel tank is lower in fuel. That would be much appreciated. I can guarantee that. So anyway, till next time. Uru.